Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the Sons of Dorn as we get into Alexandros the Mad, the story of the Mad Chapter Master. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe because we post Warhammer 40K content every single day. And if you have not checked out the 40 Facts on the Sons of Dorn, please do that. That is part 1 to this video. And if you have any suggestions or topics of request, please comment down below. With that said, let's get into 40 facts on Alexandros the Mad. Though a noble and proud chapter, the Sons of Dorn are not without sin, for within their long and glorious history, a dark stain upon their honor still resonates from the time it occurred over 5 millennia ago. One of their own, from a proud lineage of their greatest chapter heroes, plunged the Sons of Dorn into a terrible conflict that nearly resulted in their destruction. Although most of the imperial records of this dark time, known as the Age of Apostasy, has been purged, evidence remains that it was through the reviled Alexandros the Mad that the chapter war was birthed. Appius Flavius Alexandros was born to a famous Archean lineage of Alexander the Great. He was the first Alexandros descendant who would rise within the ranks of the Sons of Dorn and play a very pivotal role within the chapter's history, though his legacy of madness would taint the chapter forever. He would be known by future generations of the Sons of Dorn as Alexandros the Mad, a name which would be vilified within the chapter's lore, synonymous with infamy and treachery, and in time would hopefully be erased from history altogether. Appius was one of the first inductees of the great lineage of Alexandros to rise above the station of a mere battle brother, and through his numerous deeds of valor and courage, he would be elected from amongst his fellow company commanders as a prospective master of the Sons of Dorn upon the death of their old chapter master. He was an exceptional warrior without peer in the chapter. Appius underwent the final trial to become a chapter master by ritually ingesting some of the forebearers' poisoned blood in the secret ritual used to choose a worthy successor. Surviving this ordeal, Appius's body appeared to overcome the potent toxins, and he was deemed worthy to lead the chapter. At first, Appius appeared to be an inspirational and formidable leader, cut from the same cloth as his famous ancestor. However, unbeknownst to his brothers, the poisoned blood of Alexandros the Great had an adverse effect on Appius. It is not known whether this was due to some latent effect within the toxic blood of Alexandros the Great, the fact that Appius was a blood descendant of Alexandros' lineage, and was therefore affected more severely by the toxin, or some warp-spawn touch from that disease. Perhaps it was a combination of all three, but what is known is that after the ritual ingestion of the blood, changes were quickly brought upon the unsuspecting Appius. Over a short period of time, he began to slip into madness. The changes in his character were subtle and not noticeable by many of his brothers at first. This madness would be the catalysts that would eventually lead the chapter into outright heresy. During the Wars of Apostasy in the 36th millennium, Chapter Master Appius ordered his chapter to withdraw from the ongoing conflict with High Lord Goj Vandire's apostate forces and return to their homeworld of Archaea. He claimed that they needed to further strengthen their chapter's might in preparation for what surely to be a long and brutal campaign. But this was a lie, for the chapter would play no further role in the interscene conflict, nor would they take part in the glorious final assault on Terra against the Mad High Lord's fortress and witness the final successful outcome. Appius wished to fully exploit the economic power of the surrounding sector to his chapter's advantage, increasing the Sons of Dorn's stockpile of arms and equipment far beyond the possible operational needs of a single Space Marine chapter. What he planned to do with this massive stockpile is not known, but Imperial scholars believe that he was preparing to launch his own dark crusade of plunder across the reaches of the Segmentum Solar. During this period of reconsolidation and preparation, Appius began to show the development of latent psychic abilities. This was highly unusual, as he had been thoroughly examined both physically and psychically, and had exhibited no natural psychic talents upon his induction into the chapter. After much studies by the chapter's senior librarians, the general consensus was that the tainted blood of Apius's ancestor must have somehow unlocked the psychic potential within him. This development greatly worried many of the Battle Brothers within the chapter and made them wary of their new commander. During this time, a previously unknown advisor rose to prominence within the chapter master Apius's court. This mysterious figure, even within his own chapter, wore the colors of the Sons of Dorn and claimed to have been a member of the chapter, though strangely, most of his Battle Brothers could not recall who he was. He claimed to have known him from before his rise within the ranks, though these claims were dubious at best. To this day, the identity of this so-called advisor has not been determined. There is some speculation that he was either a demon-possessed psyker or warped creature given the form of an Astartes. Soon, a significant rift formed within the ranks of the Sons of Dorn, as the chapter split into two camps. Those that were unswervingly loyal to their new chapter master, and those that could not bring themselves to trust Apius's increasingly suspected judgment. Apius's madness began to degenerate further, as he declared to the chapter that he would no longer be referred to as Apius, for he had casted off his old name. He ordained that he would be referred to as Alexandros, in honor of his ancestor's namesake. This action pushed those who did not trust his commander further away. Apius's detractors soon referred to their apparent insane chapter master as Alexandros the Mad, as he had become more self-absorbed, angry, and hate-filled. He indulged in base debauchery, including drunken rivalry and illegal gladiatorial contests held within his court between his loyal Astartes followers and condemned Archaean criminals. His loyal followers did the same, indulging in every base desire and killing those that displeased them on a whim. Alexandros the Mad was soon accused of killing for mere amusement, deliberately wasting the planet's financial resources to erect statues of himself in Capua's central forum, amongst Archaeans, heroes, and causing needless starvation amongst his people. During one horrible act that occurred during the games at the Gladium in which he was presiding, he ordered his honor guard to throw an entire section of the crowd into the arena during intermission to be eaten alive by animals because there were no criminals to be prosecuted and he was bored. Other additional tales of insanity tell of Alexandros sending his space marines on illegal military exercises and turning the Sons of Dorn's fortress monastery into a brothel, though the validity of this later tale is debatable. Frustrated and greatly disturbed by the chapter master's disreputable action, a cabal composed of some of the chapter's senior officers banded together and demanded an audience with Alexandros the Mad. They refused to follow his commands henceforth and loudly rebuked him, declaring that he was unfit to lead his chapter and ordered him to step down from his role as a chapter master. He and his followers would be stripped of their war gear and put in chains. They would be judged by a conclave of their peers who would determine their fate. The bored Alexandros stifled a yawn and merely laughed at this jest. He then rose from his bronze throne and flayed the usurper's soul from their bodies with his psychic might. This final act of treachery damned the chapter master, and soon the chapter erupted into outright civil war. During the course of this conflict, there were those that had initially followed the chapter master out of blind loyalty, but realizing their error in judgment, switched sides and vigorously opposed their treacherous brethren. In the end, Alexandros the Mad and less than 200 of his loyal followers fled the wrath of their brethren in a stolen striker cruiser. The rest of the chapter attempted to give chase, but the traitor managed to elude them and reach the safety of the Eye of Terror, where they were welcomed into the embrace of the forces of chaos. To this day, this dark stain on the chapter's honor is a closely guarded secret. No one outside the chapter knows of this conflict. The Sons of Dorn enacted an edict of obliteration, erasing decades from their chapter's records during this period. Alexandros the Mad and his renegade band of Chaos Space Marines have plagued mankind ever since, and whenever there is a sight of this infamous band, the chapter does everything in its power to dispatch a strike force to investigate. But the insane former chapter master continues to elude his brethren. Despite his madness, Alexandros the Mad still displays the skills and innate abilities of a masterful Astarte leader, set to rival the heroes of a bygone age. His tactical genius is such that he can still outwit even other Space Marine commanders on the field of battle, as a handful of confrontations he has had with the Sons of Dorn have continued to prove. Further reports insinuate that the Mad Chapter Master has fully given himself over to the worship of the ruinous powers. His warband has repainted their armor a glossy black, covering the imperial heritage, and now sports the accoutrements and damned iconography of chaos. The former chapter master is said to sport a large pair of ebon-colored leathery wings upon his back, appearing as some dark parody of an actual angel, a mutational gift of the dark gods. After Alexandro the Mad's fall from grace, the chapter's librarians fell into a deep trance and gleaned a prophecy from the strange currents of fate. This prophecy foretold the coming of a warrior who would someday rise to command the Sons of Dorn, another Astarte born of the lineage of Alexandros the Great, who would be the polar opposite of Alexandros the Mad, and would one day face the chapter's nemesis and end his madness. And those were 40 facts on Alexandros the Mad. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, share this with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever social media your playgroup likes to hang out in. This is an excellent example on how you could build up your fluff for your special characters. And again, there's more lore to come from the Sons of Dorn, so subscribe to the channel to get part 3, where we go over Alexandros the Blind. It's a pretty cool story, so please subscribe. And again, if you like our content, please help us out by liking, commenting, and sharing. I'll see you guys tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.